Howdy, I'm Fess Parker. If you ever want to feel really important sometime, try walking into a chicken yard with a sack of feed. That's a fact. The longer you live on a farm, the more you realize that the animals act just like people, especially the chickens. Take a rooster, for instance. He struts around the place like he owns it, and you really can't blame him. A long time ago, a lot of folks had a superstition. They thought if a rooster didn't crow, the sun wouldn't rise. You know something? I'll bet that old bird started that story himself. But no matter how you feel about it, there's one thing you got to say for him.
Every time a rooster crows, everybody surely knows it's a bright and early morning on the farm. When a horse begins to yawn as the day begins to dawn, you can tell it's early morning on the farm. When a pig climbs out of bed, he's anxious to be fed. It takes a rooster's crow to start his day. And every turkey knows that when a rooster crows, it's time for them to get up and go gobbling on their way. When the cow begins to moo, as her day begins anew, it's a bright and early morning on the farm. Then the rooster crows again, just to wake up every hen. Then they know it's early morning, a much too early morning, a bright and early morning on the farm.
You know, just like any single fella, there comes a time in a young rooster's life when he wants to settle down and raise a family. And I suppose it was only natural that he'd pick the prettiest gal around. But a funny thing, little Miss Fancy Feathers refused every one of those birds. No matter how they crowed and carried on, she ignored them. You never saw such a bunch of disappointed roosters. I think every one of them was hoarse for a week. Even Gaylord, the loudest of the whole lot, could hardly be heard. There was one fellow that came a-courting, however, that didn't give a hoot for the little bantam. He sneaked into the yard one night and walked right by her and into the hen house. He didn't give Miss Fancy Feathers a second look. But then he was a weasel and preferred a fatter hen for a bride. For as Mr. Weasel himself puts it,
"The bride of my dreams must be tender. At breakfast, a delight to see. Yes, at breakfast, I want my darling sitting there at the table with me. At lunch, I'll come home just to be near her. How consumed with desire I will be. A fragrant and tempting sight to behold as she sits at the table with me. That's my idea, a colossal idea. That's my idea of a bride. A grand idea, a stupendous idea is my idea of a bride. When I bring a friend home to supper, a blissful fine sight we will greet. I will serve a white wine, and she'll smell so divine, and she'll look good enough to eat.